Manchester United reportedly eyeing up shock January approach for Bayern Munich midfielder Goretzka. United beat Barnsley 7-0 in the Carabao Cup, and also the latest on all of our upcoming fixtures, transfer news and talk. These are some of the topics we will be discussing on this morning's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 500 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching, please also subscribe to the channel. I'm live every day at 8:30 and 6 p.m. UK time. Right. Let's start off with talking about last night's game, shall we? Manchester United beating Barnsley 7-0 in the Carabao Cup. Biggest victory as a Manchester United manager. I think the biggest before last night was 4-1. So, you know, last game was... this morning after that game, I'm feeling super positive, you know? I think... overall, it was an amazing performance all round. Yes, it's against Barnsley, but the thing I said on my match reaction yesterday was that this time last year, we came up against Newport County in the FA Cup, okay? We played away from home, and Newport County at the time were in the second division in League Two. Last night, we played Barnsley, who were in League One, and we beat them 7-0. Now, the point I'm making here is, this time last season, when we played Newport County, we struggled. It was, do you not remember? Does anybody remember that game? We went 2-0 up, and then they scored 2 goals, and then next thing you know, it was 2-2, and we nearly lost that match. Like, crazy things can happen in football. So yeah, and I know some people will say, oh, you were playing your best players. Like, we weren't. There were so many people missing on that pitch last night. You know, the back four was Johnny Evans, Toby Collier at left back, Maguire, you know, you had Casemiro in the team, etc., etc. People are saying the video is freezing. Not sure what I can do. Hopefully it will just work itself out. Apologies if the video is freezing. Sometimes just the world does things that are out of my control. But yeah, so last night's game, really, really positive. Really, really happy with what I saw. The thing for me now is that Manchester United just need to build on this. They just need to take that momentum, to take that confidence into the next game. That's all we can do. Obviously, the big game on the weekend against Crystal Palace, like that's a must-win fixture for Manchester United now. I think we'd all agree on that, right? Like we have to go and beat Crystal Palace. We have to. We need to continue that momentum. You know, as nice as it is to beat Barnsley in the League Cup, realistically, we need to, you know, be winning Premier League matches. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Alex says the whole bench were the team that started on the weekend minus Wheatley. Yeah, of course, mate. Of course, yeah. I mean, the only like first team players were Rashford and that was it, I think. Garnacho's kind of like a rotation player. What else have we got? Craig says it was a great game. We did what we were supposed to do. Build on the confidence and let's roll over Crystal Palace. Yeah, I think we can do Crystal Palace because for me personally, they haven't really started to find their form yet. Last season, Crystal Palace at the end of the season were absolutely quality. But this year, they don't seem to have quite started firing yet. So, yeah. Hold on, let me just sneeze. Oh. Sorry, everyone. So yeah, really, really happy after that game. Alex says everything from yesterday was positive. The only minor negative is I felt that Wheatley should have got a chance when it was 4-0. I mean, you say that, right? But we have to trust Erik Ten Hag. And let's all be honest here. Ethan Wheatley looked pretty average in pre-season, you know? So I would much rather Xerxes come on and try and build some confidence, or Rashford stay on the pitch and continue to build confidence, and to bring on Ethan Wheatley, who, let's be honest, right? I'm not being horrible to the kid, but do we really think that Ethan Wheatley's ever going to make it in the first team? I don't think so, personally. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. You know, I hope, you know, in a year's time, he's the Premier League leading goal scorer and everyone can sit there and say you were wrong about Ethan Wheatley. But I don't personally think Ethan Wheatley's good enough for Manchester United, personally, from what I've seen. I mean, I might be wrong, but like, as soon as you saw Rashford, remember the first game we ever saw Marcus Rashford in the Europa League, like, what was it, 8 years ago? Like, you could tell that he was good enough for Manchester United. The same with Mason Greenwood. The same with, like, all of these other players who've broke through the youth academy, you know? No disrespect to Ethan Wheatley. I'm just not convinced that he's going to be good enough to be a Manchester United player. I might be wrong. And I think that Chido Obi Martin is the one that we're all kind of excited about. I think he's the one, once his deal to Manchester United has been fully confirmed, I think he's the one who we should be kind of shouting to bring through into the team, personally. But I might be wrong. And the thing that we have to remember is, right, we have to trust Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag is the one who is on the training pitch every day. He's the one who knows everything about every single one of those players. And him not giving Ethan Wheatley minutes will be for a reason. He's not doing it out of spite. He's not doing it to be nasty to him. There'll be a reason. Maybe he hasn't been impressing in training. Like, we don't know the answer, but we have to trust Erik ten Hag. Flying Dutchman says, based on last night's game, do you think Rashford is better as a winger or a number 9? I think Rashford's better as a winger, personally. Rashford is a number 9, though. If the team are playing a high line, I think he's great because obviously he can just get in behind, and like we saw yesterday, his first goal. But yeah, I think Rashford is definitely better as a winger for me personally. But I'd be interested to see what you guys think as well. Somebody says Toby Collier should be integrated more into the first team. I hope he gets more chances. I want him to be promoted to the first team. He already is promoted to the first team. He's on the bench, isn't he, for every game this season? Do you mean like you want him to start every game? Like I think he's a long way off that, to be honest with you. Manuel Ugarte's just signed. Like, Manuel Ugarte is in the same position as Toby Collier, and he's going to start over Toby Collier 100%. But Toby Collier is now a first-team player. He doesn't play with the under-21s anymore. He's on the bench. He'll be on the bench against Crystal Palace, etc., etc. But I'm not convinced that Toby Collier is suddenly ready to bench Manuel Ugarte. He did okay, I thought, Toby Collier, considering he was playing at left back. But I don't think we're in that position yet. Daniel says Anthony is still the 4th choice. He was better last night, but he didn't impress enough. I thought Anthony was all right. He was okay. He did an all right job. But yeah, he definitely is the 4th choice winger, 100%. I'd probably say that Ahmad is first choice. Then I'd say Garnacho, then Rashford. Probably not, actually. It's probably Ahmad, Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony. That's probably the order. Johnny says that Anthony played well. Yeah, he did. He didn't play badly. He played good. Did he get a couple of assists and a goal? He obviously got the penalty. I thought he was decent. Yeah, he was taking on players. He looked like he was confident, but he doesn't do that in the Premier League, though. He seems to be too scared to take people on in the Premier League. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, how's everyone feeling this morning after last night's game? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. The one thing I will say is this, right? We've just gone and beat Southampton 3-0, kept a clean sheet, a team that we've only beat once in the last 5 games. We drew 4 times out of the last 5 against Southampton, and we just went and beat them 4-0. That's decent. I'm happy with that. 3-0. And then we've just gone and beat Barnsley. Yes, it's Barnsley, but we still beat them 7-0. So in the last 2 games, we've scored 10 goals in 2 games. I mean, who would have thought that? We'd be saying a Manchester United side at the moment would be scoring 10 goals in 2 games. I know like the Man United teams of old would score 10 goals, no problem. But in recent years, especially under Erik ten Hag, we have had a bit of trouble scoring goals, especially last season. I think we only scored like 40 goals in the Premier League last season in 38 matches, something like that, which obviously isn't good enough. Listen says, I would play Rashford as a striker on Saturday and Garnacho and Ahmad on the wings. You know what? I actually think that's quite a good suggestion for the Palace game. I do. I mean, you have to play Garnacho, he's in form. You have to play Rashford, he's in form. And you have to play Ahmad, he's in form. So what do? I mean, the only player who isn't in form is Joshua Zirkzee, realistically, And that's no disrespect to Joshua Zirkzee. I'm just giving you a fact. Rashford just scored 2 goals. Garnacho just scored 2 goals. And Amad Diallo's been our best player so far this season. So you are probably correct there, mate. Like, those 3 players should be starting the game against Crystal Palace. Joshua Zirkzee, maybe he comes off the bench. So yeah, I would agree with you there. I would go as that for the front 3 against Palace on Saturday. And it'll be interesting to see what Erik ten Hag does, because like Joshua Zirkzee has been really good, I think, but he obviously isn't getting goals and stuff, which is what we need. So yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting topic to bring up. Let me just blow my nose. Somebody's saying that Rashford isn't a striker. Rashford's an attacking player. He can play across any of the front 3 positions, realistically. You can't just say he is not a striker. You could say Rashford is better, in your opinion, as a left winger, but he can also play as a striker, you know? Like, it's the same as any player, you know? It's like Lisandro Martinez. You'd be like, oh, Lisandro Martinez isn't a left back. Well, no, he's a left-sided centre-back who can play as a left back. It's the same with Rashford. Rashford is a winger who can play as a striker, you know? So yeah, his primary position is not a striker, but obviously he has the attributes to play as a striker as well, in my opinion. Lightning says, Eriksen is such a good player, but he has no legs at all. Yeah, I said this in the match reaction yesterday. Like, it's crazy to see how good Eriksen still is on the ball, but he looked amazing because he had so much time on the ball yesterday, whereas usually in the Premier League, like, you don't have time on the ball. Somebody says Bruno Fernandes should play Casemiro, Bruno and Ugarte. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I thought Manuel Ugarte and Casemiro did really well together. I thought they made a pretty good partnership. But then that means, obviously, that Kobe Mainoo doesn't play, which isn't going to be a popular decision, you know? But I still would go with Ugarte, Mainoo and Bruno. That would be my midfield three. But then arguably, Eriksen should be in the team. You know, Eriksen's been decent the last couple of games. And Erik ten Hag does pick players based on form a lot of the time. He does seem to, you know, reward people after they've played well. Johnny says that Rashford has played 151 games as a striker, but he's not good at it. Okay, fair enough. David says Ahmad is our best winger. Xerxes is a baller, very technical. He does more than goals for us. His link up and hold up play and one touch is class. Yeah, definitely. I agree. Lots of people giving credit to Manuel Ugarte. Yeah. And somebody says, what a good headache for Erik ten Hag. All of his wingers are firing and he had to make a selection where he can only pick two. Now I want to see Xerxes and Rasmus firing in the goal. Yeah, okay. Daniel says, my favourite goal was the Ugarte turnaround to Eriksen, the long ball to Garnacho. I got off my sofa. What a play. Yeah, some of the goals yesterday were absolutely beautiful. Like, really, really nice. Yeah, it was amazing to watch. It was just nice to watch a game of football for Manchester United and to not be sat there every second thinking that you're going to concede a goal, you know? Like, we were so dominated. We literally completely dominated them, like, from start to finish. Did Barnsley even have a shot? I don't think they did they? We completely dominated them. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with what I saw yesterday. Obviously, there's a long way to go. You know, we're not gonna there's a long way to go, but we all know that. We're not all gonna just assume that one game is going to be enough. Like, we have to build on this. Fred says, do you think Erik ten Hag will carry on rotating after this? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think there's going to be a lot of rotation this season, and I think it's going to pay off because obviously we've had a few injuries so far, but if we can keep like Rashford, Garnacho, Ahmad fit, then I think we're going to have a much better chance this season, obviously. So I think there is, a major part here where we do have to rotate. Otherwise, we're going to get injuries. We're going to get all the rest of it. But just a quick one. Everyone who's watching the video, if you could do me a small favour and smash a like, that'd be really, really appreciated. We've got nearly 500 people watching live, and we've set a likes target of 500. So make sure you go and like if you haven't already. And please also subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. We're very close to 40,000 subscribers. So make sure you go and do that if you haven't already. Completely free content. Make sure you get involved. Let me have a little sip of my cup of tea because it always goes cold, as you know. The problem is I always sip the tea and it's too hot, and then I think I'll leave it and then it just goes cold. But let's see what else people are saying in the chat this morning. Somebody says, I don't think Crystal Palace's defence will open up like Barnsley. We won't get that much space in midfield like we got yesterday, and our best forward in tight spaces are Ahmad and Xerxes. Fair enough. I mean, what I do like is how much football we've got at the moment. Like, obviously, we played last night, and then we play again on Saturday. Like, we play in Thursday, Friday. In 3 days, we've got another game of football, which is great for the confidence and the momentum. I think Crystal Palace won last night, didn't they? They beat QPR 2-1. So, yeah. Somebody says, who would you pick as the wingers on Saturday? I would go Garnacho on the left, Ahmad on the right. And I'm kind of 50-50 between either Rashford or Xerxes as the striker. I would probably go with Rashford, to be honest, because I think like he's now in form. He's got 3 goals in 2 games. So I would probably go with Rashford as the striker, and then you can bring on Xerxes later on in the game. That's what I would do personally. I think Garnacho has to start. I think Ahmad has to start It's just whether you go for Xerxes or Rashford. I think Xerxes offers a lot more generally, like his build-up play, his link-up play, his first touch, etc., etc. But you can't just drop Marcus Rashford now that he's in form, really. Like, that would be pretty stupid, I think. Oh, I'm sneezing. Oh. Sorry about that. I don't know what it is at this time of day. I don't know if it's dusty up here or something. I always sneeze when I sit up here. But yeah, get your comments in. Let me know. What should the front three be for the game against Crystal Palace on Saturday? Let me know your thoughts. Old Trafford TV says Manuel Ugarte and Kobe Mainoo will be an insane duo. Yes, 100%. Somebody says, why must we play Bruno? He is better on the bench. It is so annoying how he loses the ball. I saw people saying this last night, like, oh, we were so much better when Bruno was on the bench. Bruno Fernandes came on the pitch yesterday, right, and created 6 clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities in the space of about 20 minutes and got 2 assists in 20 minutes. So I know what you mean. I think we are more composed. I think we keep the ball better with Bruno not on the pitch, but you can't shy away from the fact that Bruno Fernandes is probably our most creative player. Well, he is our most creative player if you look at the stats over the last however many years. So Flying Dutchman says, did Ahmad play on the left last night? I can't remember. Where he came on. If anybody knows, let me know in the comment section. And somebody says Rashford is looking confident again. That's great news for Manchester United. Yeah. I don't understand the criticism of Bruno. You know, he comes on the pitch for 20 minutes and gets 2 assists and creates 6 goal scoring opportunities, and people are still criticizing him. Like, you know. And we got somebody in the chat who's trying to downplay the whole thing because it was Barnsley. Just think about it like this, right? Last night, Fulham, Premier League side, spent 150 million in the summer, lost to Preston, and are knocked out of the League Cup. Preston, okay? This time last year, we nearly lost to Newport County, who are a league below Barnsley. So, yes, it's just Barnsley, but still, you can only beat what's in front of you. And the point that everyone's trying to make here is we beat them convincingly. It wasn't like it was 1-0 and we hanged on till the last minute. Like, we beat them 7-0. And it could have been more than that. It could have been double figures last night easily. So that's why you have to give some credit, and you have to just see it for what it is. Yes, we were playing a lesser team, but we're now building on that momentum, and we'll take that into the next games. And if you can't be happy or positive about your team winning 7-0, then I don't know. I don't know why you even bother watching football, you know? Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. You know, if people are that negative about it, like, oh, it's only this, it's only that, like... And as Ant says, we nearly lost to Coventry as well. We were 1 kick away from losing to Coventry in the Championship last season, you know? It's not like you're playing like a Sunday League team. Like, anyway. It is what it is, isn't it? Romano says Dave Brailsford, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox were all at the game last night. And Shawboy says, we are seeing progress, which is what we all want. Exactly, mate. You have to take the small slices of positivity, you know? As I said, Southampton... We drew 4 times out of the last 5 games with Southampton, and we just went and beat them 3-0. That's an improvement. That's progress. You know, if you draw with a team 4 times out of 5, and the other time we beat them 1-0, and then you go and beat them 3-0 away from home, that's progress, right? Then you go and beat, yes, it's Barnsley, 7-0, our biggest win. That's progress. That's an improvement. So, yeah, I don't know. If you're not happy about any of those things, then I don't know. I don't know what to say to you, to be honest, but yeah. Right, let's talk about Goretzka for a second then, shall we? Because there's a story that broke this morning saying that apparently Manchester United are monitoring Leon Goretzka over a potential January transfer. Now, I like Goretzka. I think he's a good player, but I wouldn't sign him at Manchester United. We don't need him. We've literally just signed Manuel Ugarte, who for me is a similar profile player. Now, the reason why Manchester United apparently are targeting him is because he's only got 2 years left on his contract, and it looks like he's not going to sign a new contract at Bayern Munich. So effectively, Bayern Munich will probably look to sell him either in January or next summer. He's 29 years of age, though. By the time we could sign him, which will be next year, he'd be 30. We don't need another 30-year-old CDM. We've already got Casemiro, who's 32 now. Like, we've already done this whole thing before where we signed somebody at the age of 30 who was once a world-class player. They come to Manchester United for the final paycheck and the retirement. Like, we've done that too many times before. So for me personally, it's a no. I don't want Leon Goretzka at Manchester United. We've got Manuel Ugarte. We've got Kobe Mainoo. We've got Toby Collier. You know, like, if we're going to sign another midfield player, it needs to be somebody like around the age of Manuel Ugarte, someone 22, 23, not somebody who's 30, not somebody who a decade ago or 5 years ago was one of the best in the world and now is kind of starting to go downhill a little bit. So, yeah, for me personally, I don't want Leon Goretzka. But I'd be interested to see what you guys think. Like, would you like to see Leon Goretzka at Manchester United? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Yeah, it's a no from me. Let's see what people are saying in the chat this morning. Chris says we need to sign a left back. Yeah, I agree, mate. 100%. Although Luke Shaw's apparently going to be back by, I think, next week, I think. So, I mean, hopefully Luke Shaw comes back, is fit, is firing. That's what we need. Like, if we manage to keep Luke Shaw injury-free all season, we could achieve all sorts of things. I honestly think that. But there's a massive if there. And the if is, can we keep Luke Shaw fit? And the answer is probably no, because he'll probably come back, play for 2 games, and then be injured for like 6 months again. So, yeah, I definitely agree. A left back in January is definitely the priority. I can see people saying the video is freezing, so I'm just going to wrap the video up here then. I think my signal's being a bit naughty today, so I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back at 6 o'clock. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please make sure to drop a like on the video before you go. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you all later. Bye for now.